This is David Goldie, your World Wrestling Grand Prix champion, and you're listening to the Alliance Guys podcast.
If it wasn't discrimination. And you have the nerve, you have the nerve to sit there on your high horse and preach to these bottom-feeding dwellers who sit in the chat room like Alliance Blog, who's been doing this for over a decade and still only got 2,000 followers. Yeah, I see you're a jabroni and a ham sandwich and I don't want to hear from you ever again. About what the NWA is supposed to do. This is what pro wrestling is supposed to be. This is what the NWA is supposed to be. No. You don't tell anyone what the NWA is supposed to be, and you certainly don't lecture me about what the NWA is supposed to be. I made the NWA.
Building an alliance.
Will you join us?
It's showtime.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
You're not here, you missing out, because this show...
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, listen up. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
It's time for the Alliance Guys podcast.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Alliance Guys podcast, a presentation of alliance-wrestling.com. It's still the number one source for news and information. My name is Jay Cal, and I'm going to be joined by two of my compadres, mis amigos, mis buenos amigos, mi hermanos. And for those of you who don't speak Spanish, that means my brothers, my friends. Of course, welcome to the stage, Mr. Jaden. Jaden, what is going on, brother? How are you doing?
Not much. To be careful. They might call ICE on you and get you deported.
That wouldn't be the first time someone tried to get me deported. And then also, the man that needs no introduction, but I'll do so anyways, the professor of pro wrestling, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Rick Del Santo. Rick, well, we just lost Rick. Where'd Rick go? Well, hopefully Rick will be back momentarily.
The professor of pro wrestling needs to get some more coconuts and seawater together to make a good signal for his podcast.
Yeah.
Debut or review.
Rick had to bounce. He got tired of my shit already. Hey, man.
Does that make DK the Gilligan of the podcast of professional wrestling? Ooh, who's the Mariana professional wrestling?
You should try telling him. No, he is the Thurston Howell the third because he's old as shit. What is up, Professor Rick Del Santo? Welcome back to the show. How are you, sir?
I'm great, thank you. Sorry, having a little connection issues on this side today.
Did you hear my comment about it? You need to get some more coconuts and seawater and palm tree leaves to get a better signal there, Professor?
I did not. I do live far out in the woods and spend the weather. Every time the weather's bad out here, it's, it always fails me. So we're having a little rainstorm. So, hopefully
maybe you should make a 3-hour tour to better weather.
Or a couple.
Hey, shout out in the chat to NWA Territory Crossfire. They are in the chat. We appreciate you guys hanging out. Yes, we are ready for the Crockett Cup. All three of us will be at the Crockett Cup. We're all jacked up and excited about it. We certainly can't wait to see what's in store for Kenzie Page in the NWA Women's Championship as she takes on Nattie Neihard. That's going to be a banger for sure. You got Natalia Markova and Kylie Page. They're going to go in an all-out match. I think they called it a no limits match, and Master P doesn't even got to be there because this is going to hit and slap, I'm sure. We're going to go through a lot of the matches for tonight for the Crockett Cup. We're going to talk a little bit about Power because I feel like we need to at least acknowledge this week's episode. But there's plenty to talk about within the NWA. I guess we'll just get right to the point. Well, first of all, Willie Bowen won't let me go any further in this show without acknowledging the Tyrus joke of the day, which is Jenny Craig is making a movie. Tyrus will play the villain, the cholesterol creeper. What? The cholesterol creeper?
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Willie is, what I love about Willie is he's super pro NWA, and he's always welcome in here on our chats to talk NWA. But man, that guy holds a grudge. I won't do anything to intentionally piss off Willie Bowen, because once you've crossed the line with him, you're dead to him. Like, I know he is. Tyrus is on the no-fly list for Willie. We can't even talk WWE without upsetting Willie. So I'm glad this is an NWA show because Willie enjoys hanging out with us. But I know we don't want to cross that line with him. We got Rosville's in the chat. And there's a few others here. You guys want to sound off that you're here in the chat? We'll say what's up to you. Double D. Oh, no, you lost by a run, huh? That's a bummer. I wanted to acknowledge that Double D had been helping out, hanging out on the show the last couple of weeks. But as it is, he's a new dad, and so a lot of time is invested in being a father, as Rick knows that as well as I do. So Double D is going to be stepping away. He might pop up every now and then, but we do appreciate you hanging out with us for the last couple of weeks, Double D, and the seat's always open for you when you're ready to jump back into it.
We should have our own sequel to Ed, Ed, and Eddie. We should call it Devin, Devin, and Devin.
Well, we need one more Devin, right? Well, that's why I always call Double D, and I call the other Devin DKM, because there's no confusion by those names. Double D and Devin, Double D and DKM are very different.
I knew a girl, and we called her Triple D. I also know a girl we called her Triple H.
Was she the game?
She was a fun game to play.
Oh, my God.
Oh, Lord.
You said Triple D's, and I never mind. My wife wouldn't want me talking about her. Anyways, let's see. So we do have some pretty cool things to talk about today. Obviously, and this kind of caught me out of left field because I wasn't expecting it at all, especially because the Alliance blog podcast, the Alliance guys live stream, the pre-party. These are all things that we've been doing for years. The Alliance blog has become kind of more the home for our interviews. And we're efforting to have Big Mama, the former NWA Women's World Television Champion. She's going to be coming to a future episode of the Alliance blog, and I think maybe even this next Wednesday. But kind of shocking that she lost the title on Power this week, and that's something I wasn't anticipating. It wasn't something I even knew was going to happen. Rick, I mean, what did you think about that? We'll talk a little bit about the match later, but that's kind of big news leading into Crockett Cup. We have a new women's television champion.
I was completely surprised when I saw it happened. I got to Power today so I can catch my notes and all that stuff. And when I saw that happen, I was like, what the hell's going on here? We're 3 days before the Crockett Cup. I wasn't sure what was going on. It just seems that how long has that been? That match been sitting in the can as well?
For a while, I'm assuming. I think.
How did we not hear about it? How did we not hear about it before that? That's the other
what's
thing.
crazy is those TV tapings in Tampa. Like, I don't think anyone signed an NDA, but like nobody talks about it. It's like persona non grata. You cannot speak about the NWA if you're at those TV tapings, because I didn't see anything on Instagram. I didn't see anything on X. I didn't see anything on Facebook. No stories, no nothing. So this caught me off guard. And I think maybe the most disappointing thing about all of this is, Big Mama won that title in Chicago. And we never saw that matchup. We never even saw her win the title, right? And, Mama is somebody who's been around for a very long time. Like she used to work promotions back in the early 2010s that were associated with the NWA. She worked for USWO ATL, which at one point was NWA. I think it was called Cyber Fights or something like that. It wasn't cyberspace, but it was something similar to that. and I think Tony Falk was the promoter for that.
Yep.
She's been a regular in Kentucky and Ohio and Indiana. In 2023, she made her debut for the United Wrestling Network in Derby City. She also started appearing in Ohio Valley. She made her power debut at Back to the Territories. She was invited to be at the 76th anniversary at the Burke Invitational. And that was only her second appearance on NWA programming. 2 months later, she would win the women's television champion in Highland Park by defeating Haley J, Markova, and Tiffany Nieves. And that was like their Halloween event, the super smashing Halloween. And then, we never saw the title on TV. In fact, the first time we saw Big Mama with the TV title, she was wrestling. She was filling in for Kylie Page, who was injured in a tag team match that saw Kenzie and Big Mama win the NWA Women's Tag Team titles. So, I mean, it's crazy when you think about it. We never even saw her defend that title until her first defense. And unless nobody was keeping track of the matches, there's no indication that she ever defended that TV title except for against Tiffany Nieves.
Mm-hmm.
So Tiffany Nieves is the NWA World Women's Television Champion. I bet Big Chris Dog is excited about that.
Yeah, Dave Scooby said the title changed hands back in early February. The NWA needs to tighten up Titans 2 to 3 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks time difference. This 3-month delay is killing me. I think it's killing everybody. Scoob, there are matches that are announced for this Crockett Cup that some of us know the spoilers, so we kind of have we kind of know what's going to come up next. But they even spoiled part of Hard Times 5 by making the addition to the Crockett Cup main event, which is the other piece of news that we should talk about, is that now, in addition to Rhino and Thom Latimer, they added Colby Carino just yesterday. I'll read the press release right here. Breaking news, the NWA CEO, which I don't think CEO is the exact title for him. I think it was president or owner. William Patrick Corgan has made a shocking call just days from the 2025 Crockett Cup. Colby Carino has been officially added to the World Heavyweight Championship match this Saturday in Philly. It was previously slated as the title being defended between Thom Latimer and Rhino. Corgan cited that after winning the first Dane Memorial Heavyweight Tournament and becoming #1 contender in Dothan, Alabama, Colby has earned this opportunity. So I've chosen Philadelphia, the city that raised him, for this moment. So right off the bat, that announcement just spoiled Hard Times and the finals of the Dane Memorial Tournament. I mean, look, the spoilers are out there, and that's fine. But if you are trying to live spoiler free, they just ruined it by the match listing. The press release goes on to say, of note, Colby's father, Steve Carino, is a former NWA Worlds Heavyweight Champion who held the prestigious 10 pounds of gold for 172 days. And with the legendary Rhino having made his intentions clear at Hard Times 5 in a face-to-face confrontation with Latimer, this Crockett Cup co-main event is no longer just theirs to fight over, but Carino's as well. First of all, Jaden, I know for a fact that you have been there for a lot of the maturation of one young Colby Carino. You saw him when he was still a youngster, making his way in the world of wrestling. What are your thoughts on, first, Colby won the Dane Memorial Tournament. That's pretty cool. And second, them choosing this opportunity to put him in the world title match.
Number one, it was cool to do on the tournament, and I did see him grow up from a little kid wrestling at 5 years old. I think he had his first match.
Yeah,
and I saw him as a young teenager. I think putting a 3-way for the world heavyweight title is very bad moronic booking. This is the most prestigious and longest reigning world's championship in the world ever. Been around for a very long time. Many greats have held this championship. When you put a 3-way dance, especially with elimination match or whatever it is, and especially without proper booking behind it, it's just showing me that your current challenger and maybe even your current champion you don't have enough faith in. So you add another another factor to try to draw that attention. It's the same thing where people have tournaments to make number one contenders and battle royals to make number one contenders. I understand, like, if battle royal, you get a shot, but if that's your number one contender, that means all those matches you're having is worthless and useless, because those which should determine what your number one contender is the different matches that are going on. It's just bad booking. It's lazy booking. It's somebody who doesn't understand the proper build up. I understand multi-man matches have to happen. I know for Dog, there's venues, there's sponsors that want multi-man matches, and that's, you got to make the sponsor happy. The only person that needs to it has to be made happy is Billy Corgan. And unfortunately, it's when it makes him happy, it makes us miserable. This is the World Heavyweight Championship. There should be one challenger who earned that shot and has been built up and has got his shot. Now with, even before I was talking with Devin DKM, he believes, and I kind of agree with him, that this has been probably the decision, the plan all along, even before Rhino lost in 2 minutes to Bruce Wayne's illegitimate son. I'm sorry, that's actually Damien, but never mind. I don't know. It's just three-way matches. Most wrestlers hate having three-way matches. A lot of the modern fans who think that that's something great and exciting, they think there's multi-man matches are what wrestling is. But anybody who's been a wrestling fan for more than, they weren't born in 2000, in this millennium, they realize three-way dances are not a really good match. And it's probably the whole reason they're doing it. It's just because a lot of people think the three-way dance was invented in Philadelphia at the ECW Arena. Jim Cornette did it first, and it was a well-built-up feud and a tag team feud. And also, if it's really going to follow the three-way dance format, the two challengers have to face for 10 minutes, and then the champion comes in, and that's the champion advantage. That's the original way that they did that format, and if they don't do that and they're trying to pay homage to the ECW Arena, that's somebody also doesn't know their history. It's bad booking, and I don't like it. No, sir, I don't like it. To quote a horse.
Now, Rick, I mean, that Jaden kind of just laid it out all on the line there. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What points would you like to make?
I have to agree with Jaden. I feel that three-way dances, four ways, six ways, whatever you want to call them, all those multi-man matches are kind of moronic, and especially for such a prestigious title that has such a history of the NWA Worlds Championship, it just doesn't look good. It sounds like there's something up, that something's going to happen. Maybe it's because Colby's going to take the pin, or I don't know, something else is going to major could just happen as a part of an angle going forward.
Like, look, I'm willing to admit that maybe I'm a ham sandwich jabroni, right? I get that, but what I don't understand is for a title this significant, an event that is basically has the world talking about it. Like, that's the first time we've seen this in a while, where this is a really big event. And more people have been talking about the NWA right now than I've heard in a long time. And maybe that's a little bit because Thom Latimer is, taking that title and defending it Maple Leaf Pro. Maybe it's because Nattie Neidhart is coming direct from the WWE to the NWA. Maybe it's because Rhino just appeared in AEW programming. But like, this to me, I feel like is a misstep, because when you have a matchup like this, the significance, I feel like this is just, I feel like you're adding too much seasoning to a perfectly seasoned meal. One of my biggest complaints about this match is I don't feel like there was enough build for it. Like we've had over the last couple of weeks, there's been multiple times where we could have seen interactions between, the man beast Rhino and, Thom Latimer, that World's Heavyweight Champion, and we haven't seen any of that. Now maybe they'll correct that on TV. Maybe we'll see build up for this. Obviously, we're still in the can before Hard Times 5, so there's a lot of content before we get to the Crockett Cup. But again, with so much on the line for this event, I wouldn't want to muddy the waters any more than they already are. This is the 10 pounds of gold. It doesn't need any extra gimmicks. It doesn't need any extra seasoning to it. We could have just had a legit one-on-one match, and I think that would have been great. Now
you said seasoning. First of all, to me, it's more like putting ketchup on a steak.
That's fair.
A really good steak too. That's not seasoning. That's a travesty. Second, I wonder if they even will acknowledge that Carino's father had history with Rhino, both on his side and against him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they will in some degree. And there's so many things that could happen here, right? Because what if Colby's just working us all and he's coming in, he's been a baby face for the last year and a half. He's not above hiring help. Remember, he was the one that originally brought the fixers into the NWA as his personal security. What if he's paid off Rhino to help him score that 10 pounds of gold?
Well, that means he wasn't capable of winning it on his own. So
it's professional wrestling. That doesn't, that doesn't always happen. People winning the belts on their own. A lot of times it doesn't happen anymore, unfortunately.
I don't know what you're talking about. Professional wrestling is 100% legitimate sports. It is not predetermined like the NFL and the NBA. It's not worked. Wrestling is real. Real life is fake.
Oh, gotcha.
So, yeah, I mean, that's both of those pieces of information I think are pretty interesting. And it does kind of change the direction of Crockett Cup. Now, we know that there have been a lot of matches announced for this year's Crockett Cup that are not tournament matches. And we kind of mentioned this last week where, a lot of people were saying that, hey, this would be a very good idea if the Crockett Cup were to have a live portion of the show where people could actually watch it live. I don't see that there's any at least any indication that that's something that the NWA is going to do. Jaden, do you think that's a lost opportunity?
Yes, because the rest of it's going to be played 16 months from now.
Yeah.
They could even do. I know we've talked about like the live streaming, like their issues with like live streaming and stuff like that, and or even like where they're available and stuff like that. They could even do Facebook. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
kind of make some sort of profit as well, because that's becoming more and more of a thing. You know what I mean? Is to monetize Facebook and stream there, even if they did it an hour a week or an hour of the show, just to or like the pre-show or something like, a lot of other companies do. It could work and get more people interested.
Want to shout out Alex Misery in the chat here, saying that the Crockett Cup is ours. Well, hey, thanks for stopping in and hanging out, Alex. We're going to be talking about the Crockett Cup in just a few minutes here, but it's pretty cool that you decided to hang out and check this out today. Big fan of your pops, and I hope to see big things out of you too, Alex, as El Leon was a great NWA North American champion, especially out in the NWA On Fire promotion. So it's
don't forget tag
cool.
team champion too.
That's right. He held the title. Was it D'Lo that he held the tag titles with?
I'm very sure it was D'Lo Brown. Got to get down with the Brown.
Got to get down with the Brown. I always loved when D'Lo would do this, but then my neck would hurt afterwards.
My neck hurts watching you do that.
Yeah, right.
Don't ever do that again.
I'll try not to. You know what I've seen lately on social media is people doing the Io Sky emote, and that one looks like fun too, but I wouldn't try doing it. My neck wouldn't survive.
Is it EO Sky?
Did I say Io Sky? Because I meant EO Sky.
I'm glad you didn't put an N in it.
Well, no, there's no. Why would I do that? That's crazy.
There's a lot of words and names you put N's in that don't belong. Cahagas.
Look, it was one time, man. Let it go. It was 20 years ago, man. All right, so let's talk about some of the matches that we have coming up for Crockett Cup, because this card looks. So I was there last year. DK and I were sitting live in Forney, Texas for Crockett Cup last year, and although I had a great time, there were some matches that weren't exactly setting the world on fire. I feel like they're really trying to put on the best damn show they can this year, and I like as a fan, I'm here for it. Right, I love it. But I gotta wonder. There's gonna be so much going on. That's gonna be I think we decided it was like 17 matches for the tournament, right, Jaden?
Yeah, if it's a 16-team tournament, there's 17 matches, and then they said 5 non-tournament matches, and then there's probably going to be a pre-show.
There's definitely pre-show. I know there's like some local guys that are taking part in the what they show last year at 76, 3 or 4 pre-show matches, right?
Yeah, I think there was like 3 of them last year.
Yeah. And so when's this thing going to be over? 2:00 in the morning?
Yes.
Just like the dog, when it's excited, it'll stop when it's done. One thing that I want to point out is I saw this, and I didn't know this earlier, but Crazy Steve will be in action. He was not previously advertised for the show. I don't know that he'll be as a tag team, but I think we still have one more mystery tag team yet to be determined. So maybe we'll see Crazy Steve in the tournament. I don't know. But one of the matches that were announced today is that we have TVMA with Miss Star taking on the Island Twins. They were known as the Tonga Twins in WOW Women of Wrestling. And it looks like we have what could potentially be an important match in the NWA. I mean, look, we talked about the spoilers last week, so I feel like it's safe to say we know that TVMA wins the tag titles at Hard Times 5. So I'm assuming, I think it might be safe to say that the women's tag team titles will be on the line for this one.
So Nieves is a champ.
Say that again.
Nieves is a champ.
And Nieves is a champ. Mama was a champ. Now Nieves is a champ. So that's one match that I think will be something that a lot of us will look forward to. Personally, I've seen Rossi in WOW. Like I've been at WOW tapings where she was at Adriana Gambino for Women of Wrestling, but her appearing in the NWA I felt was a great addition. Putting her with Tiffany Nieves, I feel like can be very interesting and a shakeup for the women's tag team division. I feel like the NWA is certainly lacking on quality female tag team wrestlers. So the galvanization of some of the talent I think is a great idea. Just I don't know. I don't like the idea of having champs. I'd rather have more competitive division where your TV champion is focused on the TV title and your tag team champions are focused on the tag team titles. Rick, what do you think about that?
No, I think you're correct that you're having 2 titles. It's just you're really not focusing on both of them. And one title is basically going to waste, no matter that becomes less important, so to speak, to that person, or it's not featured as much on television, or on the rare occasion, all of a sudden with Billy's brilliance, he'll just pull somebody that's saying that, there's a match for this, and then they end up losing the title after not defending said title for God knows how many months, So the ideas of double champ just doesn't do it for me at all.
I don't mind a double champ as long as they're defended twice. If there are 2 champs, they have to defend it twice on one card.
That's that's the ultimate, yes, but how often does that really happen?
It doesn't, but that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Well,
somebody can find a president of the territories and tell them to make it happen.
Well, and that's
hear that
thing.
Crossfire.
Yeah, You hear that Crossfire? Like, call them out, right? Like they're the ones that are responsible for this. But I will say this: like the idea of the champ and 2 title defenses, I think would be fine on any other night. But again, we have also the Crockett Cup tournament, which is that's gonna take up a good chunk of the night, as it should. I mean, that's what this whole night is about: is crowning a new Crockett Cup tournament champion. All the other matches, like I said, there's a lot of exciting matches, but we can't also deny that the Crockett Cup and its significance for the NWA, what that cup means, what it represents. Now, Crossfire did say something about a match that they're excited about, and that they just straight up said Silas and Hammerstone. And, good Lord, I just a couple weeks ago, I saw Hammerstone wrestling at GCW, and Hammerstone looks like $1 million. He's always looked like $1 million, but I mean, he really is out there doing things. He's making his name. I think he's almost like reinventing himself, where he's, he had the time in TNA, and a lot of people, kind of just forgot about him. He got hurt. He had to take some time away from television, and they quietly released him. And Hammerstone is a guy that I don't think people should sleep on. And I'm kind of surprised. You know, he made his return to MLW. He's supposed to be back at the MLW, their next event. He made his appearance at, like I said, GCW, has wrestled a few GCW events. He's making his NWA debut, and I'm not sure where we're going to see him next, but Hammerstone versus Mason, you know, you've got essentially one of the hottest free agents in pro wrestling, and you got Hammerstone at the same time. No, just kidding. You have Silas Mason, who's a beast, and I really feel like when you talk about somebody who carries the banner of the National Wrestling Alliance, I don't know that there's anyone bigger, better, or badder than Silas Mason, and he doesn't have a title to go with it, but he certainly has the repertoire to carry that banner. Jaden, what do you think about this matchup?
I think it's 1986 UWF Terry Gordy versus 1988 Total Package Lex Luger right now.
That's an apt comparison.
And I can't wait. Everybody knows that the 1998 I'm sorry. 1988 Lex Luger was the best Lex Luger. That was when he was actually looking like he was going to be the biggest thing ever. And he was wrestling really, really well. And it was the absolute best Lex Luger. And while there was never a bad Terry Gordy pre second time he passed away, because he passed away technically 3 times, in case you did not know that. But God, 1986 Terry Gordy was absolutely amazing. Huge fan of the Freebirds, and that's what Silas reminds me so much of. I can't wait for that match. That's the one match I want to see more than anything else. Everybody's talking about at least it originally was Rhino versus Latimer, which was kind of cool, and the Natalia Neidhart and Kenzie Page was great, and everything else is like there's cool stuff. And I'm even happy to see Crazy Steve as part of it. But man, this is the match. This is the main event, in my opinion. This is the match I want to see. And if they screw it up, we riot. And you know what? Philly riots really well.
Should I get Silas to sign my 1988 Remco Silas Mason action figure?
It's actually a 1985 Remco action figure, but sure.
Yeah, I'll take it, whatever it is. Yeah, so that I agree with both of you guys. I think that match is going to be killer. Rick, actually, I didn't get your thoughts on it, Rick, but I'm sure you're positive too.
Absolutely. These are two of the best guys out there right now. Silas Mason is probably the best thing going as far as the best talent that the NWA has right now. And Hammerstone is Hammerstone. You know, the guy's been almost everywhere except for, say, AEW and WWE. And he's probably one of, like you said, the hottest free agent out there. I think that this is going to be one of the best matches of the entire weekend.
Yeah, for sure. And even Alex Misery in the chat just said 2 behemoths. And I think that sums it quite well. I mean, these guys are big, they're brawny. And the thing about it, and not a lot of people know this about Silas Mason, but that guy's a shooter. You know, like we talk about his power skills, we talk about his promo skills. That guy is legit, and he can go in the ring. And you know, we see a very different style of Silas Mason in the NWA, but don't be surprised if he starts to go for a choke out on Hammerstone. If things get a little awry, like, you know, he can certainly take care of himself. And I feel like, man, between these two guys, it's gonna be a killer matchup. And I feel like this only highlights some of the other really great matches that I'm looking forward to. But it's certainly one of the better matches I think that'll be on the card.
Keep your papa at the door. Keep your mama in the kitchen, because this match is really, really going to be bitching.
You could buy the seat, but you'll only need the edge. Also,
that's a good line. I'll have to use that someday.
Also on the card, we have the steel chain match between Wrecking Ball Legursky and Jay Bradley. Now, again, we talked about it before. There's a lot of matches that are playing out on Saturday that we don't quite have the build for yet because of the delay and from taping to airing the program. But Legursky and Bradley under any other circumstances is going to be a banger. Again, we talked about Mason and Hammerstone being big, meaty men, but you know, Legursky and Bradley are big, meaty men. And I feel like putting the cage on this, especially in the confines of the former ECW arena. Like, it's only fitting that this match be violent and bloody and hopefully chaotic. I mean, Rick, I know you love Wrecking Ball Legursky.
I love Wrecking Ball Legursky. I've become a Jay Bradley fan because of Legursky, Wrecking Ball. And I think that, them as a tag team works so well. And I'm kind of like, why did they split up already? Because it only seemed like they were together, 2 years or something like that?
Yeah.
But I felt like they could have done so much more. And for two big guys, I felt like they weren't treated properly, like they were two big guys in an organization.
Yeah, sadly, no.
Yeah, so because they did jobs to guys that were way smaller than them, and it just, to me, that's kind of ridiculous. But I think that this is going to be a fantastic matchup. It's going to be hard hitting, like you said, violent. It's going to be fun to watch.
And then Jaden, I know with Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators, that has been kind of a secondary home for Wrecking Ball Legursky. He's made, I believe, 2 of those Rowan University events. Tell me, what are your thoughts on Wrecking Ball Legursky?
I know Dr. Zirconium was very happy when he brought him in for different wrestling events. I know there's plans to bring him back. If you go to the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators YouTube right now, cheap plug, you can see Wrecking Ball Legursky take on Brawlick Tyson Maddox. And there's some USDA grade A prime beef right there. Make sure you watch that match to get you prepared. It was a very good match that I think will possibly help Wrecking Ball get ready for this chain match. And again, it's two guys beating up each other. If they go at full potential, this could be 1989 Stan Hansen versus 1994 Bam Bam Bigelow.
Okay. I like those odds. Now, I'm one of these guys. You guys both have a relationship with Wrecking Ball Legursky to an extent. Not that I have a relationship with Jay Bradley, but he is a guy that I've been watching for quite some time. What a lot of people don't remember about Jay Bradley is he used to wrestle in the early days of Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. He would come out with CM Punk and Colt Cabana when the Windy City guys would come out here to Southern California. He was one of those guys, and he was always very impressive way back then. He was also part of the early what Dave Marquez does out here in Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. Remember, initially that promotion, which would go on to become NWA Pro Wrestling, then Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, it was first New Japan USA. And as part of New Japan USA, Jay Bradley was a very integral part of that program. So I was excited to see him make his NWA debut a couple of years ago. And then, of course, teaming with Wrecking Ball Legursky, that's been a lot of fun. But the Boomstick versus, the Wrecking Ball, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, I do have a special surprise for you guys because we have somebody, joining the show. We haven't seen him in a while. I got to bring him on because, he's a good guy, and I missed him. DKM, what's up, brother? How you doing, sir?
Well, as some of you know, I've been very busy the last few weeks with stuff unrelated to wrestling. But I was able to sit down tonight and watch the show. And I really want to know what all of you are up to. And, that Jaden's comparing matches to,
Oh no! All in all, he's just a brick in the wall right now.
Drinking.
You're frozen.
Hey, I'm back.
Okay.
And I think maybe he's been drinking.
Yes, but that's very normal for me. Never stopped me from being right.
And Jay's just been Jay and talking about Jay Bradley, and that's the only reason he supports Jay Bradley is they share a name.
No, that's not true because they used to call him Brad Bradley.
At least, Rick is trying to be the voice of reason in a show that should have no reason. So
we have plenty of reason to make fun of Billy Corgan's booking.
So, well,
That's a reason.
That kind of writes itself, doesn't it?
I've noticed that Crossfire and Alex Misery have gotten very quiet in the chat. If you guys are still here, just remember the views expressed by Jaden are his alone, and
most of the fans of the NWA.
you said it, brother.
So anyway, I can't stick around. I just wanted to come on for a minute and hassle you guys. I have other stuff going on, but I will be returning 2 weeks.
Woohoo! Woot woot!
So in 2 weeks, I shall return. I shall set everything right because we can't have Rick making sense. Jaden needs to switch from tequila back to vodka.
I'm drinking both.
I don't know. You're probably beyond help. So, oh my gosh.
I didn't know we were allowed to drink on the show. I would have,
How do you think I get through listening to you guys talk about power?
It's got a point.
I would have come prepared.
I have not watched. I've watched no NWA since I've been gone, except for I think a couple of YouTube quick things, which were terrible. Yeah, I've watched some dog wrestling, which has been very good, and I highly advise everyone to go check out Wrecking Ball versus was it Tyson Maddox, Jaden?
Yes.
That's two big men beating the crap out of each other. That's wrestling right there.
And Connor the Flagboy gets beat up too.
But
I didn't watch it yet. No spoilers. I didn't watch it yet.
Yeah,
well, he gets beat up by everybody, so it's not really a spoiler.
That's kind of his gimmick.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm here to say 2 weeks.
Before you sign off, DK, before you sign off, Tiffany Nieves, the new NWA Women's World Television Champion. Want to hear your hot take on it?
What?
That's a controversial take there, DK.
I just told you I haven't been following the NWA. What happened?
She defeated Big Mama with the Texas Cloverleaf.
Was this on the show?
This was on this just the last episode of Power.
Well, then so does that mean she lost the title before she won the United Wrestling Network title?
Yes.
Probably, yeah.
So
this was filmed back in February, and I think she won the title back in March for the United Wrestling Network.
Hello. Well, she's probably the right person to have the title on at this particular point in time. What a waste of Big Mama. 100% waste of Big Mama, but I guess she's gone on to bigger and better things in Dave Marquez's group. So,
well, that doesn't necessarily mean that she's done with the NWA. I just, they just have a new champion.
But I mean, just for a title reign or whatever.
Sure.
So, all right, hey. Cool, I guess. Now you're going to make me. Hopefully, I'll put that on YouTube because me, X, and the NWA don't get along.
X is kind of a problematic platform for sure.
Very. So hopefully that will. Wow. Really.
Oh, he froze again. I've never seen DKM and Devin Dowling at the same time.
We got to get them both on the show at the same time at some point.
Is it going to be like one of those sitcoms where they're going to change outfits constantly?
Just because somebody has my name misspelled, they can't replace me because I'm one of a kind, and the world is very thankful for that fact.
He said, "One of a kind."
One of a kind. All right. You all have a blast talking about power, and Jaden switch back to whiskey.
Oh, whiskey gives me headaches.
Bye, DK.
Bye.
Whiskey gives me headaches, except for Wild Turkey Honey Gold. That was kind of smooth.
I heard tequila makes your clothes come off.
No, I call it tequila.
That's what?
I call it tequila.
Tequila, sure. Tequila Mockingbird. All right, so yeah, getting back to it. Double D said bye, single D. That's great. So getting back to some of the other matches, of course, I think this is going to be a very Spitfire match. A lot of us are going to be excited by this one. They're calling it the No Limits match, which I guess just means like,
Master P is a special referee.
Yeah, you got Kylie Page and Natalia Markova, and I think they these two had a matchup at Hard Times, I think, to determine the number one contender for the Burke, which spoiler alert, Markova won. And so this matchup here, I don't think there's any stipulations other than it's going to be a hard-hitting, fast-paced match. I think the rules will be suspended a little bit. I don't know if it's a no DQ match. I just think it's going to be like more relaxed rules, kind of fitting for, again, that the bingo hall known as the ECW Arena. Rick, what are your thoughts on this one?
I think it's going to be an exciting matchup. Is it possible we're going to see hang on a second. I'm sorry. I just messed myself up. It's going to be a good match. I think we're going to see Natalia go over. It'll be a blast. I think it's going to be great from beginning to end. This was, I don't know. It seems like it's going to be fun. Do you what is a no limits match? Let's go into detail about that. Is it?
So that's the problem, is we've never really had an actual explanation from the office of what a no limits match is. Now we've seen they've had no limits matches in the past. I'm just trying to think of when that was used. And I can't think of one off the top of my head.
I'm guessing it's going to be like no holds barred match or something similar to that, like hardcore match, whatever way you want to put it. However, there's various terms for these things these days. So,
I think Kerry Morton had a no limits match with Silas Mason. Or no, excuse me. I think, and now that I think about it, it might have been Silas Mason, and Colby had a no limits match, I think. I'm just gonna go look here real quick. Yeah, okay. It was Colby Carino versus Kerry Morton from Looks That Kill, NWA episode 192. They called that a no limits match, which they basically just relaxed the rules on that one.
Gotcha. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a fun match. There's a possibility. Both are very talented individuals. So
yeah, and both of them gorgeous, both of them great wrestlers. Kylie, I feel like Kylie's walking around with a chip on her shoulder, and I could be wrong, right? When I see Kylie wrestle, I feel like she, no one has stated this, and I don't think we're going to see sisters fighting anytime soon, but I feel like Kylie she wants to prove something to everybody. She goes out there, she's been a part of some matches at Exodus Pro. She's done some matches at JCP. I feel like she's out there trying to prove that she belongs in the same, in the same line as her sister, the women's world champion, the Grand Slam of the NWA women's division. And, I don't think Kylie has to prove anything, really. I think she's been a pretty phenomenal talent in the NWA. Jaden, what's your hot take on this one?
I picked the blonde to win.
Jeez.
Actually, I haven't seen as much of Kylie, so I'm really interested in seeing how she does. Last time I seen her was it that Battle Royal?
Yeah,
at the 76. I'm really interested to see her. Markova, I initially used to call her Stifler's mother, but she's definitely impressed me a lot now. And I'm a big fan. I've grown to like her a lot, so I'm really looking forward to this match. I do like good women's wrestling. If Crossfire is still on there, I really think Kylie, though, I would love to see Kylie take on the Notorious Mimi. So if Crossfire can make that match happen, because I think Notorious Mimi is also somebody that should be in the NWA right now. I'm putting it out there. If anybody should be in the NWA, it should be the Notorious Mimi, because they don't have any redheads in the company. Lots of blondes. But Mimi is extremely talented too, and I would love, for some reason, I could see her and Kylie just having that little bit I've seen of Kylie. I just see them working extremely well together, and having that match that would be the match that would put them both really on the map and really get them out there. Because Kylie, a lot of people say that even though she's less experienced, she's actually more talented than her sister. Nice reason to book that match too. Set some. Plant a few seeds.
I feel like that's going to come at some point in the NWA. That match
it's almost got to, right?
I feel like it's been brewing for a very long time. that it's
But Kylie's never had that breakout match, that really big match to really set her apart. And I think this match, Markova, could be it. And I'd like to see other wrestlers, I'd like to see her get those big breakout moments so she can get, if she's half as good as everybody says she is, she's probably the best wrestler in the NWA, male or female.
You're not going to get a big argument out of me. As you guys know, the whole pretty empowered thing, we here at the Alliance blog, and I'm just, Crossfire says 2 years in only. I'm going to just throw this out here. We haven't played it in a while here on the podcast, but we were big fans of Ella and Kenzie when they were the women's tag team champions. So much so that they even did a bump for us here on the show.
Can you believe that there are some people in this world that did not tune in to the Alliance Blog podcast? Shame on you! Shame on you! My name is Ella Indy, and I'm one half of the NWA Women's World Tag Team Champion. And I'm Kenzie Page, the other half of the NWA World Women's Tag Team Champion. And you better go listen to the Alliance Blog, what is it called again? Podcast, period. You're ugly. Pretty empowered. Approved. All right.
We were big fans of Pretty Empowered even back then as a tag team. When they introduced Kylie, I really felt like that whole entire group just took a big step forward. Now, Crossfire just said that she's only been in the business for 2 years, but I really feel like we watched Kenzie kind of grow up in the NWA. I mean, we went from watching her, taking on the women's world champion at the time, Camille, and it's not being disrespectful, it's just being honest. She wasn't there yet, and Camille kind of beat up Kenzie quite a bit, but we see Kenzie has grown into this pretty complete package. I mean, she looks great, she works really well in the ring.
Great. DK's disease is now picked up on J-Cal.
Am I frozen?
You were. I was waiting to call Ella. I don't mean Envy.
Okay, sorry. Well, what I was saying is, so we saw Kenzie's maturation process throughout the NWA, and where she's at now, she's absolutely one of the most talented women in pro wrestling. Period. I think Kylie has potential to be better. I really do, and that's not to put down Kenzie at all. I just feel like Kylie in such a short amount of time has gotten so good, and throwing it out there, Crossfire, if you could make it happen, we'd love to have Kylie on the podcast anytime.
Kylie and Kenzie, both of them. I guess that makes Kylie the Brett and Kenzie. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, Kenzie the Brett and Kylie the Owen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want either one of them on a scaffolding being lowered to the ring for sure, but yeah,
too soon, man.
Jeez, been like 25 years, guys. I'm not joking about it. I don't want her on the scaffold. Kylie's a national treasure. You gotta make sure she's taken care of.
Yeah, too soon, man. Too soon. I'm the controversial one here. You tried to stop me on this, trying to be me.
You know what's funny is that Owen Hart was like my favorite wrestler. When that happened, I was so devastated. And this was back before, cell phones existed, but I didn't have one. I had a pager, and my pager was going off the entire night. Like, oh my God, are you watching? No, I wasn't. It was my mom's birthday. We were out to dinner for my mom's birthday, and I didn't get to see it. I came home and watched it on, recorded pay-per-view, and I was devastated.
Real thing though, I'd like to know is, how does anybody wrestle with a nose ring? My biggest instinct is get a 9-volt battery and try to put it on both sides.
I don't think that's a good idea.
What, the nose ring or the 9-volt battery part?
Both.
I don't know. I just don't understand. Like, I would grab it. I would go full on Three Stooges and grab that.
Thank God you're no longer wrestling.
Well, that's why I was barred in 16 states.
All right. Okay, so here's another match that, again, the build for this is non-existent, and it's very confusing because we do know at Hard Times, Carson Drake surrendered the 10 pounds of gold because he had reached the Lucky 7 series. At least that's what it was explained to. But now we have Carson Drake, who had, he had been defending the TV title. He's been defending it still. We saw that part of the cheese, the grilled cheese festival that they had in Sacramento, that the NWA was part of the 2-day festival. He defended the title there, and now he's scheduled to defend the title against Brian Idol. it's confusing, and again, this is where I would really, they just have to clean up the turnaround time, because I bet there's an interesting storyline here somewhere, but they've given us nothing, not even breadcrumbs leading up to this match. Jaden, I know you're not the biggest Carson Drake fan, but I also know you're not the biggest Brian Idol fan. Where do you put this match at?
I don't dislike Brian Idol as much as you guys do. At least he knows what beta alanine is, obviously. I would rather see Brian Idol as champion. I just not a Carson Drake fan. Not my cup of tea. I'd rather have. I know again, he's not the favorite of Jay over there, but I would rather see Brian Idol as the TV champion. If I had the choice, honestly, I'm happier for that. I don't know. I just don't want Carson Drake to do it. I want somebody else. Anybody else disagree?
Go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
No, you go ahead. I was just showing something off.
I just don't think there's a match that I could care about less than this match. Not to sound like a dick, but I have really no interest in watching Carson Drake or Brian Idol wrestle.
I'm not a fan of either one of these guys, and I'll be perfectly honest, this is the match most for me, which is sad because here I hold a ring-used NWA television title. I won't tell you which champion that held it, but a title that means a lot to me over the years. I have two of them, guys. I've got, look, the camera shows this isn't, you're not seeing double. I have two NWA TV titles. That's how important that title is to me. And I have not been overly excited about anything that Carson Drake has done as television champion. There is a following that he has for sure. And I get it that I'm willing to admit that I don't understand what everyone else sees in Carson Drake, and that's fine. It's fine. But I also don't see a whole lot in Brian Idol either. And I don't.
He's very bland. He's very bland. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's all like he's got a great appearance. It's just the way he talks is bland. The way he wrestles is very bland. It's not always on point.
Do you remember?
Do you remember the times? I'm sorry.
Okay. When they introduced Brian Idol, he was Mercurio. He was the model, and I thought, this is terrible.
Yep.
Why'd they just let him be himself? That would probably be a lot better. I actually think I liked Mercurio better than Brian Idol.
Mercurio. Oh.
Roswell says Drake needs guidance. Who he is needs to be refined. I agree with that. Like, there's a lot of people who think that he is supposed to be like a modern day $1 million man. I don't really get that vibe. I get, from Brian Idol, I get the same as I do from Kerry Morton. Kerry Morton feels like the frat boy everybody hates, right? Am I wrong on that? Do you guys see that?
I get it. Yeah.
I feel like that's what Carson Drake is too. The only problem is, why do you have these two frat boys nowhere near each other? These guys should be fighting for the title. Kerry Morton should be wrestling for that TV title. I think that to me would be a more compelling match. I'd be more excited about that.
Do you want my takes on what's going on?
Yeah, please.
First of all, it's only a grilled cheese if it's bread and cheese. If it has anything else added, it's a melt.
Okay.
So make sure that grilled cheese festival, if it has anything else, any bacon or beef or anything else, lettuce in there, it's not a grilled cheese.
All right.
Number two, Carson Drake reminds me of Zach Morris with the likability of Screech.
Come on.
I salute you, sir.
And third of all, when are you going to get a proper TV title, the best looking one, the one with the black strap?
I would never do that, because why would I want something that
it's something the best title? I understand you have an inferiority complex. That's why you have to have two of the uglier version.
It's rude. I think that's very rude.
Rick,
Roswell
TV
said
title, real quick, before you read Roswell, because he has a lot of interesting things to say. TV title, red or black strap?
I do like the red. I do. I'm not gonna lie, but the black is. I think the black is what I grew up on, right? I'm trying to remember who had the red one.
Arn.
Yeah, Arn did, right? Yeah, that's what I was gonna say that, but I wasn't 100% sure. But I mean, I don't mind the red one. I think it's pretty nifty.
The red on the red and the silver just it just blazes it out. The black makes the red pop, makes the blue pop, makes the silver pop.
I think the red on red is just, I don't know, man. I get it. Like, look, Jaden, what's the color on the background here? It's red, right? That's like the Alliance blog color. Like the hat I'm wearing is red. The eagle is red. Like,
what's the dog background color?
Yeah, it's black. Like your
Yes.
heart.
Once you go black, you shouldn't go back.
Well,
that's why they never went. That's why they never had a red TV title in the Jim Crockett Promotions after they went black.
Great Muda had the red strap, I believe. Roswell says black strap was what I grew up with, but I like the red. Look,
what was the original thing Roswell said they were going to say?
We're going to get to that right now. With that being said, the Pope had a white strap, and I wasn't. That was probably the one I didn't like the most.
I was going to mention that. Sorry, I was going to mention that because I remember the white strap, and it just said, "I don't like white straps on with wrestling belts. I don't think they're attractive by any means."
I think the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiator Championship looks great with the white strap, and I've heard Jay multiple times say, "If it ain't white, it ain't right."
You've never heard me say that, you son of a bitch. With that being said, Ultimate Warrior with the white strap on the IC title was kind of charming.
He like switched it up like every week. It's like one day it was like fluorescent yellow. There was all these bright pink, all these different. Yeah.
I think that's what the NWA needs. Forget red, forget black, forget white. The TV title should be like neon yellow. I think that's where it's at.
Got to go with the modern times, right?
Yeah.
If you're neon yellow, you're not a nice fellow.
All right. Roswell said he should be the Wolf of Wall Street in the wrestling world. He said to be a money man, right? He's a young, rich asshole, and that needs to be focused on. And the laugh has to change and be on time. Yeah, God, man. I can see potential with the kid. Don't get me wrong, and I say kid because I'm 46 years old, so I can say that now. But I just feel like there's something not gelling for me. And maybe it's the laugh, maybe it's the
dance,
the little dance, which I hate that too. And someone told me like, oh yeah, he's a heel, you're supposed to hate him. I'm like, no, guys, it's not like he's a heel and I hate him and I want to see him lose. He's a heel that I hate him and I want to turn the channel when I see him on my TV. And that's not the good kind of heel heat. There are a lot of great heels in the NWA currently. I don't know. It doesn't resonate with me.
Carson has a lot of potential. Unfortunately, it's not the potential to be carjacked on his way to the ECW arena, which is very plausible, actually.
The next match we have is Mims with Black G's taking on Max the Impaler. Now, here's the other thing. We haven't seen the national title a lot as of late. In fact, I think the last time we saw the national title was, I don't know. I think Mims defended the title against Mondo at a TV taping, but I don't think that ever made television. And I think he defended against Wrecking Ball Legursky at Hard Times, which we haven't seen yet either. So I like Mims. I think Mims has, again, we're talking about potential and heels. Like, I'd much rather watch a Mims match than a Carson Drake match for sure. But I feel like the momentum with Max, I don't know if that's still as meaningful as it was a year ago. Max the Impaler was one dominant force as the champion of both brands, the non-binary champion holding the title for both the men's and the women's division. I feel like a lot of the luster that Max had at that time has been slowly scraped away. Max was eliminated in the Jack Stain Memorial Tournament by former partner Frank. And before that, Max had a really good matchup with Tyler Franks, which was one of Tyler's best matches that he's had in the NWA. And he made Max look very human, something that we don't see from them almost ever. So I got to ask you, Jaden, I mean, you've helped out booking matches for Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. What are your thoughts on Mims defending the title against Max for the second time?
I finally figured out where I'm taking my bathroom break.
All right.
I don't want to see that match. I don't want to see Mims versus Max. I don't want to see Max wrestling in the men's division. At this point, I don't even want to see Max anymore. They've neutered. They've made Max ineffectual in every step, both in male and female division. Max needs to go away and learn a new hold. Max needs to sue Billy Corgan for gimmick assault and character assault and potential assault for everything he's done to Max's career. Somehow being a champion, holding two different TV titles is actually probably the worst thing that happened to Max's career.
You know, the ironic thing about that is when Max held both the television titles, they put Max and Frank into that tag team and then put them into the Crockett Cup. And it was like, you're taking away basically 2 title matches for any event by putting Max into the Crockett Cup. It didn't make a lot of sense. And last year they had the play-in matches leading up to the Crockett Cup, where you had the teams actually have to beat somebody to get into the cup. And so for months we didn't have a Max title defense for either championship. But I do feel like that hurt their momentum. And then, you know, the thing about Max, and I kind of believe this to my core, I think Max is best used as a special attraction, you know, and I'm not saying that they're of the same size or anything like that, but, you know, Andre the Giant was special when he came in and wrestled a battle royal and kicked everyone's butt in the battle royal and then kind of disappeared for a little bit. I don't feel like putting Max on every single episode is the best move. I think Max should be used sparingly, because I feel like the appeal and the luster gets worn off if they're presented as just a regular wrestler. Rick, what are your thoughts? Do you agree with me about the special attraction label? Or
absolutely. I think that Max, when they first came in, was a kind of a dominant force, and since losing the titles has just lost a whole lot of steam. It's just a lot of the booking for the character just makes no sense. And yeah, I feel like they should be used as a special attraction. Come in, kick some ass, and then leave or something. You know what I mean? Maybe take part in a tournament, get eliminated by shenanigans or count out or what have you. But should come in as a dominant force, because that's how the character was. But it doesn't seem that Billy necessarily knows what to do with the character after the title losses. Like I said, it just lost a ton of steam, and it's kind of a shame in a way, because it is an interesting character. I think that it has so much potential to do so much more.
Well, Max dominated the women's division, you know, like straight up dominated
for a good year or so.
Yeah. The only 2 people that bested Max in that time was like Camille and Kenzie. Like that was pretty much it. And I feel like, you know, once that gate was opened, it's like toothpaste. Once you squeeze it out, you can't put it back in. Once you know how the sausage is made, it kind of loses its appeal. And I feel like Max, unfortunately, a victim of circumstances, maybe a victim of their own success. I think it watered Max down. So,
and in this case, I'm a huge fan of Mims. I think that it's going to be kind of a fun encounter to watch.
Real quick, if you make sausage, it's not that bad. You should learn how scrapple's made.
I'm out on scrapple. I had blood pudding, and I'm out on scrapple.
We're gonna make some scrapple in Philly then.
All right, yay! All right, so then let's get into some of the other matches. Of course, we kind of hit all the extra matches, like I guess the co-main event, and it's kind of hard which one should be on last. And I'll say that I think Kenzie and Nattie should probably close out the show, but I'm gonna put this up just because that's how I would do it. You've got the triple threat match between Thom, Colby, and Rhino for the NWA Worlds Heavyweight Championship. Now, I was very excited when this match was Thom versus Rhino. And it's not to take away from Colby, because I do think he's a great athlete and a great talent for the NWA. I don't know if I'd want him in this match. And I think if I had my druthers, I'd probably have left this a single one-on-one match. Rick, what are your thoughts of leading up to this? What's your thoughts on who's going to walk away with the title? at Crockett Cup?
It's either going to be Latimer or there's a small chance, a small hope that I have that maybe Colby Carino somehow walks away with the championship. It's very possible that that could happen, and that's why it was made a three-way. You know, I don't know how. I don't know why it was made a three-way. There was no real explanation. At least to my knowledge, there wasn't an explanation. Or no, there was because of the tournament, right? The Dane tournament. But I don't think that it should be happening at this match. That Carino should just get a one-on-one match down the road. You know, next TV taping or what have you, or maybe he comes out and challenges Latimer after the match, or the winner, whoever, whether it be Rhino or Latimer. So it could really go either way for me. I wouldn't be surprised if we did see a new champion in Colby Carino for the evening.
I think even and Jade, we'll get to your point in just a minute. I think even you know, you still have a main event that you need to book for the 77th anniversary show. And winning the Dane Memorial, I think, could have been the fast pass to the main event at 77. Like, that could have been like a built-in thing. Like, you know,
by the time that airs on TV, it's probably going to be around that time period. So
yeah. And I feel like it's also a disservice to Colby because, like, now he isn't getting a one-on-one opportunity. He has to literally beat two men to win the world title. You know, Rhino has to beat two men to win the world title. Latimer just has to outlast two men to keep that title. You know,
is it an elimination match?
No,
it hasn't.
No, you just got to beat one guy,
right?
Let everybody else do all the work and steal the win.
And Latimer doesn't have to be pinned to win the title or to lose the title. Excuse me.
Oh,
so
yeah, that makes it a little bit more difficult. So, Jane, what's your hot take on this one?
I hate it. Stupid.
Yeah.
Billy Corgan right now should go back to playing music and sell the NWA to me for $1.75. But still fund it. But no, I just absolutely hate it. I think it's disrespectful to Rhino. It's disrespectful to Thom. It's disrespectful to the fans looking forward to that singles match. It's disrespectful to the ECW arena. It's disrespectful to Carino. It's disrespectful to the 10 pounds of gold. It's disrespectful. It's stupid.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of three-way matches by any means, but this happening for such a title just doesn't make sense to me.
And such a big spotlight too. I mean, they just added Crazy Steve. Another person has some name value. They could have really done everything they can to make this, you know, this entire event mean something. And in the last week, they've made it from making it really exciting and decide to ruin it. Decide to make it less. Somehow they took something I was looking forward to and making it now that I don't care about the match.
Considering those gigantic call to action last week when we were here talking, about how things were going to be going forward, and that, you know, he was going to basically, it sounded like something positive was going to happen, that the Crockett Cup was going to be amazing and be a new that the company would be going in a new direction in a way.
Well, and with that being said, it still can. It still can go in a new direction. It's just I felt like it was more clearly defined a week ago, and now you've kind of muddied up the water. And I'm not exactly sure what the intent was. Why does this make sense? And as some people alluded in the chat, maybe it's because we don't want Rhino to be, you know, Rhino just got beat by Nick Wayne, so maybe we need Thom to have a tougher opponent. Maybe there's something in Rhino's contract that won't allow him to lose, you know, on another program's television. I don't know, and that's the kind of stuff that we probably will never know. But I would have liked to see, you know, like Rick said, Colby come out after the match and make a challenge. Hell, you know, I don't know the stipulations of the Jack Dane Memorial Tournament, but if he had a title match at any time, kind of like a Money in the Bank thing, like, I'd love to see him cash in post match. You know, maybe Rhino wins, and then Colby calls out and wins the title off of him. I felt like that might have been a more interesting storyline, but
At this point, I'd rather see Fred Richards show up with a phone call, and all of a sudden Colby comes out and he adds him at the end and has a singles match between Latimer.
See, that's funny because if you guys have been around for a while, there was a nice gentleman by the name of Damian Wayne, the Mid-Atlantic Badass, who probably should have been World's Heavyweight Champion. Yeah, I guess the less said, the better.
Controversy.
Luthez says he despises all cashing gimmicks. I mean, I kind of feel the same way, Lou, but
yeah.
I would like anything better than this. And I don't want to. I'm not trying to demoralize Colby, because I think Colby's a really fun talent, and I don't necessarily have a problem with him walking away as champion. I really don't.
I think it's going to happen at some point. It's just when will he become NWA champion?
Is it because of member berries?
What's that again?
Is he going to become a champion because of member berries?
Yes.
You remember when his father won the world title? I remember.
Well, there was a point that I saw somebody on social media said, if Steve Corino gets announced for Crockett Cup, Colby's going to win the title. I'm like,
he could be a surprise. I think that just show up at some point.
And so we've talked about, or at least I talked about earlier in the week, about potential WWE talents landing at the Crockett Cup as a surprise. As far as I know, there's only 15 teams announced yet for the Crockett Cup, so there's still a 16th team needed. And I'm not advocating it at all, but if Steve Corino was there, I'm not saying to put him in any kind of wrestling match, but if Steve Corino is allowed to be there as a WWE representative, I mean, it's kind of a feel-good moment, even if it's just a short-term thing. I mean, I don't need any world champion or any champion to hold the title for a record number of days, right? I'm not advocating for hot shotting the title or potato hopping the title, or hot potatoing the title. But sometimes a title change could ignite a territory. We saw that years and years ago with Wildfire Tommy Rich in the Atlanta area. He did not hold that title for very long, but certainly there was a boom in Atlanta once he won that title. Jaden, I mean, I'm getting that right? Like that's
Tommy Rich and Harley Race dropping the titles 2 times in the territory in 2 smaller towns that weren't expected to have championship matches lit Atlanta on fire. It made everybody believe that anything could happen. So that was the great thing on that. I don't think this is the same thing. Honestly, it'd be really neat though if if Adam Pearce and R-Truth and Corino, and I doubt Cody Rhodes, but maybe even Nick Aldis show up as WWE representatives, and maybe show up and give some comeuppance and some praise to Thom Latimer or whoever the winner of the world title match is. I doubt it, but it'd be still kind of interesting, because if they're going to do some NWA and they're going to bring a former NWA champion who's an agent in the WWE, there's a couple of them, and including a couple of them that are still actively wrestling.
Interestingly enough, I've just looked up a WWE calendar, and they don't have a show on the 17th. Not that I'm saying that's anything's going to happen, and please understand that I'm not saying that, but on the 16th, NXT is live in Lakeland, Florida. Also on the 16th, SmackDown is live at the Greensboro Complex in Greensboro, North Carolina. I mean, would it shock the world if there was a greater WWE influence on this show?
I think it would be fun. I mean, WWE's been more lenient as of late in letting talent show up, say, in GCW events, Bloodsport, there was 3 or 4 or 5 people that worked the show, stuff like that. And so anything is possible with that to happen. It could be very interesting. It'll add a lot of fun to for the crowd.
I think it'd be funny if Aldo shows up and smacks Jay with a ham sandwich.
I would love it. As long as someone gets it on film, I'll take it. Because remember, ham sandwich jabroni.
That's what Crossfire said. The Shane Douglas cameo, that would be amazing. That's what I expected to happen at 76 with Shane Douglas to come up, but it never happened. And when he never came out at the end of the night, I was sorely disappointed.
No, we got the Blue Meanie.
Yeah, well, we don't need to see him again. So, but I'm sure he'll pop up.
He's gonna be there. By the way, he's gonna be there.
Is he even confirmed, or are we just we just betting on it again?
He's
him
confirmed.
and Billy are buddies.
He is confirmed to be there, and to Crossfire's point, Douglas showing up would be very surreal, right? Like, remember when they did the 10 pounds of gold series, and Aldis did defend the title at the 2300 arena. They tried to get Douglas to come on, and he sent a written statement to the NWA management saying, like, he'd like to leave the past in behind, and like to just kind of move on from that experience. But in the past, he's made appearances on behalf of the NWA. He worked with NWA on Fire briefly. There was and this is a deep dive, and most people won't know it, but there was a wrestling promotion in Canada called WFX Wrestling, and a lot of their talents were guys formerly of the WWE or ECW variety, including Billy Gunn and Ken Anderson. But Shane Douglas was there, and Scrap Iron Adam Pearce actually had a match where he defended the 10 pounds of gold against a local Canadian wrestler. And later in the night, he attacked Shane Douglas with the belt. There was the video never got released. It was on pay-per-view if you had ordered it, but I think it wasn't on all the providers anyways. It's not like Shane Douglas has shied away from the NWA forever, but he has in recent years. So it would be
NWA TNA for a little bit too, I think.
Yeah. Yep. And Luthez says Home Depot Douglas can stay where he's at. Sure.
Target, I believe, right? He works at Target, I heard.
Wasn't he a teacher? Did he lose his
that I believe, but I also heard that he was a manager at a Target in Philadelphia for a while.
It's Pittsburgh, I think.
Pittsburgh? Okay.
Well, I think PJ Polanco, Just Incredible, I think he was a Target manager.
He worked for Olive Garden for a while as a waiter. Just me. He lives like 30 minutes from me. I heard stories about people seeing him out there. So I don't know if he ever worked for Target, but anything really is possible.
I gotta pump my brakes here, and I have to apologize because look, the world of professional wrestling, there are highs and lows, and not everyone stays on top forever. Right. And I don't want to besmirch anyone who's out there trying to, put food on the table. And I want to take that back. I want to take that negativity back because, you know what? After your wrestling career is over, if God willing, you're still alive and able to work, then absolutely you should be able to make a living. So I'm gonna walk my comments back and apologize to anybody who might have been offended because
I'm not saying anything mean. It's just sometimes when your wrestling days are over, people have to get regular day jobs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
You of all people, Jay. I mean, you used to sling chicken for KFC.
Jaden's going all deep dives today. All deep dives.
This is like WCW.
Learning a lot about Jay today.
The Lions guy, deep cut.
Yeah. that guy Tom, the other Tom Green, he is pretty good. He does good stuff, man. I like his stuff.
Creates really good content. Yeah.
His hair reminds me of yours too.
Mine or Jay's?
Jay's.
Oh, all right. I was gonna say.
What's wrong with my hair?
You remind me of not Tom Green's. The other Tom Green, whatever we want to call him.
I think it's not Daddy, Tom Green. Yeah.
Did he help the most too?
Sausage? Daddy, would you like some sausages? No. Nobody saw that movie? Freddie got bigger?
Yeah, yes, I saw it.
Nobody saw that movie. That's one of the things why I didn't make any money. You were the ticket holder, apparently.
I used to watch that on DVD so much. And I was completely sober. No drugs, no alcohol.
No sense either.
Ain't got no sense.
No taste.
All right, now for the
No
match.
chance in hell. Oh, I'm sorry.
This is the match that honestly, this is what got me to Crockett Cup. No doubt. I feel like Kenzie Page has been a very credible, successful women's champion. I feel like she's lived up to the potential. I feel like I don't know what more Kenzie can do within the confines of the National Wrestling Alliance. She's a Grand Slam champion. She's held the tag titles with 2 partners. She is a former women's television champion. She's won the Burke Invitational, and she's held onto the Burke for I think well over a year now. Maybe closer to 2 years now. Yeah, 2 years. She's phenomenal. I have nothing bad to say about Kenzie Page. But when you have an opportunity to bring in a WWE superstar, wrestling royalty, wrestling has more than one royal family. And,
there's Jacko Victory and Rip Morgan, Lord Littlebrook.
Jesus Christ.
Great tag team, by the way. Sorry.
Yes. They were some ballers, weren't they?
Stop encouraging them, Rick.
I love Jack Victory, man, and Rip Morgan.
Oh, yeah. I'm a huge Jack Victory fan. I've actually did many wrestling events with him. He's a New Jersey Devils fan, too. He's from New Jersey.
Yeah, I interviewed him last year. Great
underrated
guy. Yeah, I interviewed him last year. He's a really awesome guy to talk to. So. Go ahead, Jay. Sorry to we cut you off.
No. Get it all out now because I want to go back to the match.
And this is a new. All right. Well, the Jack Victory fan club meeting now is in session.
Where's your banner? I'll put it up on the screen.
I don't know. You have to make one apparently.
Yes.
But I didn't like him. I didn't like him with the Angel of Death as the Russian Assassins, though.
I don't know. I like the Russian Assassins. I thought they were underrated. And then now, see, we're continuing to go. I liked him when he teamed up with John Tatum.
Him and John Tatum was great.
They were a great team.
John Tatum never gets the true love that he deserves. He is a special talent. He had the best boo-boo face in the world, but he didn't do it when he was losing the belts. That was just his natural boo-boo face. John Tatum was he had amazing karate skills.
Yes,
that's true.
Yes.
Real quick, I want to go to Matt over Metal. He brings up a good point. WPC deserves some credit for booking Silas and Rhino in big matches after the match of the night at the 76 last summer. And I will say that they had a hell of a match at the 76th anniversary show. And it is nice to see both of them in high profile matches. Although, again, Matt, I don't know if you were here for, but I don't think any one of us are a huge fan of adding Carino to the title match, not because anything to do with Carino, but we just would rather a world title match be a one-on-one bout between Thom and Rhino as advertised. And I think Colby could have had his day in the sun at a different event. But getting back to the title match with Gail Kim as a special referee, Kenzie Page has done everything she can in the NWA. Natalia Nattie Neihart has been doing everything she can to gain relevancy in the sport of professional wrestling, which in and of itself is a crime to say. She's a damn heart. She is a descendant of Stu and Brett and Owen and Jim the Anvil. This woman deserves respect, deserves the opportunity to showcase what a true competitor she is. We saw her go absolutely bonkers at Bloodsport. We've seen a different side of Nattie Neihart. We're seeing a much more serious, toned down, deconstructed version of Nattie Neihart. And I think, and I don't care how much heel heat I get for saying this, I'm expecting Nattie Neihart to walk out of 2300 Arena as your NWA Women's World Champion. And, now I do want to point out some things that are being said in the chat, and I will get to those, and I'll get your guys' takes too. But real quick, Luthez says, adding Gail Kim just muddies the water of the match. See Jarrett as the ref in the Cardona versus Murdoch match. Overmetal says Gail versus Nattie has to be in the cards. Double D says Kenzie's going to retain. Dave Scooby says he wonder if Gail's husband is doing catering for the show. I really feel like this match is going to be electric. Kenzie, the only thing Kenzie has to prove, right, is that she belongs in the conversation. She has to prove that she belongs in the conversation. Nattie Neidhart is a legend. Nattie Neidhart is Hall of Fame bound. Nattie Neidhart is a former WWE Women's Champion. She's had WrestleMania moments. But this victory, I think, would mean a lot to Nattie Neidhart. I think it would only further cement her legacy. And, this changes the game if Nattie Neidhart walks out with the Burke. I mean, what does the NWA do after that? Do we have Nattie come back? Do we have, NWA talent challenge Nattie in the WWE? I mean, we see now more than ever the WWE is working with other promotions, that the relationship with TNA seems to be very strong. We're seeing Joe Hendry crossovers. We're seeing Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy crossovers. We're seeing Fraxium and other talents from the WWE making appearances in TNA wrestling. What's to prevent the NWA for doing something similar with its women's division? So I'm going to go to you first, Jaden, and get your hot take on Nattie versus Kenzie.
It's the match that really pushed this over the limit. Again, I really did like the original announcement of Rhino and Thom Latimer, but that's the one that's really, this is the match that really has people talking. It's a WWE involvement in an NWA event, and other than the brief run the NWA had on Monday Night Raw, this is the first real working with the NWA, and I'm sure Jim Crockett Jr.'s not too happy and rolling in his grave right now. But it's to see WWE and NWA partnering together in any way. It is still historic. It still means a lot for us old school wrestling fans. Nattie is a very underappreciated and a very talented women wrestler. I'm not going to glaze her over like Jay does about Hall of Famer and everything else, but I still think this will be a great match. I look forward to it. Natalya is more Penny Banner and Mildred Burke, and she's more old school NWA women wrestler when that title meant everything in that world. If you haven't seen The Queen of the Ring, go out of your way to watch it. It was a very, very good movie. I very much enjoyed it. This is a way to gain some momentum off of that too. Think about it. That Burke was still announced, and Mildred Burke. The reason it's called the Burke is because of Mildred Burke, and that belt, or at least a replica of it, was used in that movie. And a current, at that time, NWA World Women's Champion was in that movie. And this is a way to gain momentum off of that. This is a way to gain momentum off of Natalya being involved, with the WWE being involved, and the angle they did with Bloodsport. There's a lot of eyes watching the NWA because of this match, and let's just hope Billy doesn't botch it.
And then, Professor, I need to hear your hot take.
I have to go along with Jaden on this one. I think that it is very possible that Natalya is going to win this belt. I think it's going to bring the NWA's stock up a whole nother level. I think is she going to bring it on WWE TV? That would be something that would add something very interesting to the NWA, some more exposure, national exposure, because a lot of people just seem to not care, such as the three of us here, about the NWA. And it might get the NWA some attention. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun, this match. Probably match of the night. Might be one of the matches of the night. Best matches of the weekend, as I predicted a couple that were going to possibly be on that level. This is definitely going to be one of them. And this is one of the matches I'm looking forward to the most over the weekend.
Just to further say what I was saying, this is the match that got me to say, all right, wife, we have frequent flyer miles. I didn't get enough people to like the post on Instagram, so thanks a lot for everyone for letting me down. But this match was enough to let me know that I need to be here at the Crockett Cup. So we dipped into the frequent flyer miles. We're using hotel points to stay at the lovely Hyatt place in Mount Laurel. I'm going for this moment because I think history is going to be made. And if I'm wrong, I still totally expect this to be an absolute banger of a match. We know that Kenzie Page, she thirsts. She lives on the competition. She hungers for it. And I mean, I don't know anyone better that was available to take on Kenzie Page than Nattie Neidhart.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's been some recent releases from the WWE that could potentially land in the NWA. And a victory over Nattie Neidhart would only cement the legacy of Kylie Page as the next big thing in pro wrestling. I don't think anyone could. I don't think anyone could deny that. So
I don't hate that Gail Kim's the referee either, because it's not going to be the thing where Gail Kim causes. At least it shouldn't be the thing where Gail Kim causes the match to end. It's not because of gimmick. It's Gail Kim is a legendary figure that adds, in my opinion, adds to this match because it doesn't. Gail Kim doesn't have it. She's never going to wrestle again, so she's not going to screw over one wrestler or the other and get this shot at the title. She's done wrestling. She got unceremoniously removed from TNA, which is a lot of people upset, especially a lot of people in TNA. If she could bring her influence to the women's division, I think that's huge. She basically built the women's division in TNA and made it to a very, at the time, the best women's division in wrestling, and put it in the map, put TNA in the map, carried TNA in her back door in that period, in my opinion. Her and Awesome Kong. I think this is something special. I think having Gail Kim that was part of it was something special. I think they really are pulling out all the stops to make this match as memorable as possible. And as long as they don't do something stupid, which again, this is Billy, I'm not 100% sure that's not going to happen, and they don't botch this, I think this is something that's really great for the NWA.
With that being said, and the chat is kind of hinting at it, intimating at it, Overmetal says, Nattie versus Gail Kim at Evolution 2 on July 12th. And I'm not going to hold my breath for that. But
instead of restaurant impossible, we should make this wrestling impossible. And somebody should take over Billy Corgan and teach him how to run a wrestling company.
Well, like what I'm thinking is,
and beat him on the head with some fit crunches.
How cool would it be if Evolution 2 features the NWA Women's World Title on the event?
That'd be awesome.
Maybe
that's what they're building it towards. I mean, you never know.
I'm just saying, like, again, there's so much stuff that could happen, and obviously I don't have the answers. How Billy decides to book this event, how it plays out. I mean, this fundamentally could change the direction of the NWA, could change the trajectory of the NWA. And if Billy is ready to take that next step, this would be the event to do it. What that means, I don't really know. I don't know. As far as we know, there's no TV deal lined up. Not that we've heard. We could be shocked. We could be surprised. So far, there's no big announcement from Billy, so I think that's a good thing.
He is another kid.
Yeah, thanks. So I think there's a lot of, at the very least on the surface, there's some pretty fantastic matches. And if nothing shocking happens, I still feel like this is a great card. Like I said, most of the matches on here look really exciting. I feel like the biggest missed opportunity, though, for all of this is that everyone who doesn't go to the 2300 Arena is going to wait like another 3 or 4 months before they even get to watch it. And that, to me, is a bummer. Yeah, I don't see Billy just jettisoning the Hard Times footage. And I don't see him just fast forwarding to the Crockett Cup either. So it's one of those deals where, like, oh man, a lot of people would be excited to see this matchup. I think a lot of people would be excited to watch it live. But that just doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Right now, Billy Corgan, this is 1977 all over again. And instead of giving your fans Star Wars action figures what they want for Christmas, you're giving them an IOU card that says you're going to get these figures eventually. This is Jaden Star Wars talk. What was that?
Another historical reference. Wait.
No, okay.
Yeah, you guys let me down on not getting me 1,000 likes to go to the Crockett Cup, by the way. Anyways,
maybe everybody's likes were dog likes, and not Dangerous Adrenaline and Gladiator likes. You know, each like was worth 7.
Maybe. James H. Jackson says it's just shitty taping schedule. Let's fix that first before we do other stuff. I agree with it. I agree with that.
Right.
Look, and I'm. You guys know that I have a close relationship with David Marquez and the United Wrestling Network and Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. They taped on, I believe it was February 26th, and those episodes that they taped on February 26th debuted in the middle of March, and they filmed one night of TV was 4 weeks of television. One night of tapings was 4 weeks of television.
Mm-hmm.
And their episodes last an entire hour, not 36 minutes or 45 minutes, a full hour. And yeah, they have commercials, whatever, but still, it's a full hour of pro wrestling. When we talk about the NWA, there is no reason that they can't do a similar taping schedule. And when we talk about not hard times, we talk about Crockett Cup, we already have said there's about 23 matches on this card. You're telling me that not like maybe like a handful of those matches could be, put on YouTube live, or putting them on, Facebook live or Twitch live, or hell, even X live. I'm sure you could stream live on X. So,
you can. Dog's done it.
Yes,
and why not, at least, if it's not the matches, what about the pre-show at least?
Yeah.
Free content. You're not using those matches anyway. What have you used those matches for? Is there going to be one of those specials when you don't have enough tapings and you got to fill it out again?
They've done it before. They've done it before. Pulled random matches out of the vault just to air them when they didn't have anything at all.
Yeah, let's go back to that. I miss those days.
Yeah. And then didn't they? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You go ahead.
I mean, didn't at one point they ran some like random Houston footage as well when they didn't have any content that Billy owns?
Yeah, I mean, during COVID, there was that.
Yeah.
They did an episode of the Paul Bosch library, and I don't know if the NWA even has access to that anymore. A lot has changed in that dynamic since then. But yeah, I mean, like, look, I don't feel like every match that was recorded is necessarily worthy of television time. And putting stuff out on YouTube as hey, this is a YouTube exclusive is perfectly fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, where you keep Power to have some of your more premium matches, and any match can be on YouTube. Engagement is not important on YouTube. What is important is viewership. Short videos, YouTube requires engagement. Long form videos, YouTube requires eyeballs watching. X requires engagement. I almost feel like maybe, the NWA might have it backwards. And it might be better suited to have shorts and matches, one-off matches on X, and have Power back on YouTube. But, again, that's not for me to decide.
I still think they should go on Pornhub, but that's just me.
Our boy Luthes says airing the pre-show only makes sense if viewers can then go pay for the main show itself. Rosville says I would pay $29.95. I have been doing so for Maple Leaf Pro twice, mostly just to see Latimer. Yeah, I did the first Maple Leaf. Well, not the first one, but the first one that Thom was at. I paid the $29.95, whatever it was, so that I could watch that. Matt says that the Alliance blog, if Nattie wins, she's going to have it on Busted Open Radio next week. Again, and that's not a bad thing either, but like, I feel like, the selling point to everybody is if Nattie wins the title, that she's going to take that on to maybe not SmackDown, maybe not Raw, but like maybe NXT, maybe like a main event, maybe LFG. I don't know, but I'd certainly love to see her defend that title. If she wins it, I'd like to see her defend it on WWE programming.
If she defends it on program, it's great, but will she be on Fox News? That's what I want.
I don't know if she'll be in a Super Bowl commercial ad, but yeah. Double D wants Colby to win the big one. And that was just us talking about the single matches, not the tournament itself, which is a whole other 17 matches. We talked a little bit about it last week. We'll just run it down real quick. The number one seed in the tournament is Murdoch's, the NWA World Tag Team Champions, Trevor Murdoch, Mike Knox. Then you have the Southern Six, the Slime Balls, with Carson Drake. You have Blunt Force Trauma with Aaron Stevens. You have EC3 and PB Smooth with Pastor CeeLo. You have the Country Gentleman with Joe Kazana. You have the Lost. Alex Misery was in here earlier, also with Father James Mitchell. You have Mr. Grimm and I think it's Moses. We haven't seen him in the NWA before, so this is a new face for the NWA. You have the Nightmare Syndicate of Frank and Zion with Austin Idol. You have Daisy and Talos. You have Kratos and Odinson. You have Mondo Slade. You have the Temple of Dumb, and then you have the Colognes. So like that's 15 teams. We still don't have a 16th team. That means that there could be something else, maybe a battle royal, like another wild card type battle royal to determine the 16th entrant into the tournament. Maybe there's a surprise entrant. Maybe there'll be another WWE talent, maybe a TNA talent. But I am jacked up for this weekend. My flight takes off tomorrow morning at 6. I will be in Philly and Philly adjacent on Friday night, and we're gonna make it happen.
Or get some food, some scrapple.
Get some scrapple.
Real quick, you know what I wish is I know this is probably that's a crappy logo, but the logo is great. It's the eagle that's it's the Philadelphia Screaming Chickens. Again, it's proof that for football's predetermined. But why isn't Richard Holiday on this card? Why isn't Juventud Guerrera on this card?
Okay, I love the idea of Juventud Guerrera on this card. There's a lot of guys from throughout the NWA who I'm kind of surprised we're not going to see. Like so far, I've heard nothing about Jeremiah Plunkett. So far, I've heard nothing about Dante Casanova, the Exodus Pro champion. So far, I haven't heard anything about any of the talents from Texas. Not that I'm fighting for it, but no mention of Baron Von Storm, no mention of a lot of talents, and I get it. There's 23 matches that are already on the card. I don't know how much more they could fit in, but there's a lot of names that aren't on this event, and I feel like there are some free agent talents that would have made a lot of sense, but I also feel like it makes sense for the NWA to highlight some of its own roster. Bringing in Hammerstone, I think is a good move. I think that's going to get a lot of attention. I think bringing in Nattie is a great move. I feel like that's going to get a lot of attention. I feel like bringing in Rhino was a smart move, but I feel like those are three outsiders that you're giving prime real estate to. You have an NWA roster. These guys are working hard to be seen and be on these premium live events, signature live events. I think you want to try to feature those guys too, right?
Well, there's where at least Holiday and Juventud, the H&J Express, they're at least wrestle regularly for NWA promotions, and they got name value. For trying to up the ante right now with this and grab more attention, having Juventud and Holiday there is two more names that could grab attention. If there is a wild card, which will add a 18th match to this tournament, there are two names that would be good to have in a wild card. Now you got two wrestlers with name value in this tournament, and that battle royal. And whether they make the tournament or not, that's still two name value wrestlers. The Meanie could be in it. I mean, if he's going to be there, might as well be in it. That's people that can at least grab extra attention to make that battle royal, that wild card, mean a little bit more too. And now they have him with the Crossfire belts. They have Juventud with the Crossfire belt, and they have Holiday there. Maybe Holiday helps Hammerstone beat Thrillbilly, and that starts a Southern Six versus Hammerstone and Holiday. What was their name? In MLW? The Dynasty? Yeah. Dynasty versus the Southern Six. Booking. That was just off the top of my head. I just literally thought of that as I'm talking.
Yeah.
That'll grab a lot of attention because those are. Can you imagine Kerry Martin and Silas Mason versus Hammerstone and Holiday. And then
Yeah.
Hammerstone could help beat up EC3 too.
Absolutely. I think I don't disagree with what you're saying. I don't. I just also like, there's a lot of guys from the NWA roster that aren't advertised for this event. We've seen Tyler Franks recently. I don't think he's been listed for the show. You make a great point, and I'm not trying to argue that. I just again, there's only so many match spots. There's only so many. With that being said, there's a team on here, the Temple of the Dumb or Dumb. I don't even know how to say it.
I think they're actually Dune, but maybe I'm wrong.
Dune. I'm not excited about them, and they're taking up a spot in the tournament. I don't know anything about them. I know they had one match in the NWA, and we haven't really seen much of them since. We have Mr. Grimm and Mosses. Now, we know Mr. Grimm did appear at the 76th anniversary show and then also saw win. And I think he had one more match somewhere in there, but he's not somebody that has been given a lot of television time to. And again, I don't know if we necessarily need to have him in the tournament. If you eliminate those two gentlemen right there, that opens up a spot for an Exodus Pro Tag team. That opens up a spot for a Crossfire talent. Absolutely. But as Rosville says, it makes too much sense.
Pal.
Overmetal says Holiday's booked versus Cardona in the Now's ACW promotion on Saturday. Okay, but I mean, he wasn't always booked for that. There could have been an opportunity to get that booking before he signed with ACW. Roswell also brings up TME as the tag champs in Exodus, and they aren't part of the Crockett Cup, but Exodus has the boys are back in town on May 23rd. So, I mean, yeah, there are some shortcomings to this card, but I still feel like it's one of the better looking cards that the NWA has put out in a while. Like, I feel like this is a greater card to me than the 76th anniversary show last year. And it looks a hell of a lot better than the Crockett Cup from last year.
Right.
The Now is a Northeast tag team. Which
they're from New
ACW.
York. Yeah.
ACW is, if it's the promotion I think it is a New Jersey promotion or Northeast promotion.
No,
Yeah.
this is the Now's Awesome Championship Wrestling. They run it right out of New York.
New York,
okay. This is their second show. They ran one at the Westchester County Civic Center, I think it's called. WWE used to run there in the 80s and 90s, and this is their second show. Holiday is actually the champion there.
It's still not that far of a ride.
It's about
part
an
of New
hour.
York?
Whatever. Is it White Plains or Westchester, whatever the hell it's called? It's about an hour from where I live in Connecticut, so it's
Which is about 5 hours from Philly, unfortunately. My math is right.
Yeah,
because there's parts of New York you can get that are right, which you get within 2 hours. There's parts of New York that takes you 8, like Angola, New York, a little town outside of Buffalo.
I could get to Philly in about 3.5 hours, 3 hours, 3.5 hours, depending on traffic.
All right, well, then it probably does disqualify Holiday. I was thinking it was closer, so maybe you could still be there, but I guess it does disqualify.
So yeah, and real quick, look, Power. It was an okay episode of Power, and I don't want to spend too much time on it. We had, of course, the women's champion Kenzie Page open the event, defending the title against, I think Amber Nova, and I don't remember the other talent's name that was in that match. And the first thing I thought, and I literally wrote it down, was what better way to showcase your champion than by putting them in the opening match with a triple threat with absolute zero build, with talent that are not connected to the National Wrestling Alliance at all. I really feel like that's a misstep. Like, I get the point that they were trying to make, oh, she's so tough, she's doing triple threat matches now. To me, that's not tough. To me, that's arrogant and kind of dumb. And nothing about Kenzie Page to me is arrogant or dumb. Confident, yes. Arrogant, I don't think so. And I just felt like this match didn't make a lot of sense to me. Rick, did you want to add anything to that?
The third was Carolina Cruz. This was a three-way, as you said, which I don't particularly care for three-ways. Billy seems to love them and puts them on TV as many times as he can. There's multiple TV shows where he'll have like 2 or 3 of them in an hour. But this was, I know last week I think we were talking about a women's match that was very sloppy, etc. This was kind of a step up from that. This was a very well put together 3-way. It was short though, however, probably 3-4 minutes or something like that. It just seemed like it got going, it was very fast paced, and then all of a sudden it had ended. Kind of out of nowhere in a way, but it wasn't too bad. Not my favorite because, like I said, 3 ways. It's supposed to be the NWA Worlds Women title, which is a prestigious title. I don't think that it should have been the 3-way match for that, but it's not my decision. So it's not that it was not as bad as I was anticipating.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing. Both of the talents that were in that match with Kenzie were really good, and I do hope to see them in the NWA in the future. But that was just, I don't know, that match didn't hit for me, as the kids say. I felt like Carolina Cruz and Amber Nova, I feel like one of them recently signed with TNA Wrestling. I'm gonna double check real quick. They were solid in the ring. I felt that they were good, but I just didn't I don't know. I would like to see, I just mentioned how I wanted to see the NWA feature more of its own talent, and bringing people in is cool. Carolina Cruz, also known as Emma Diaz or Catalina Speed, did work in WWE development from 2023 to 2024, but has not really didn't do much with the WWE in her short time there. They looked good. And if the plan is to have them as a regular part of the NWA roster, I'm excited for it. But I still feel like that women's title should be showcased in premium matches, not triple threat matches, not opening segment matches.
Right.
I didn't take really great notes for the event, but I know what was up next. I think was
it was the tag titles. And it was Knox and Murdoch defeated the Slime Balls.
And
go ahead.
Yeah, no, you were just about said it. It was a less than 5-minute match.
Yes.
That Knox and Murdoch beat the Slime Balls, and it was pretty much all Murdochs. Like I don't believe Slime Balls got any offense in. Did I miss something? Did they get any decent offense in?
I don't think so from what I remember. And then of course they had one, I guess, what was it? How did they ended up getting a second match because of the last show that we watched?
Yeah, one of the stipulations for it was a match where Murdoch didn't make the match, and it was Knox versus both of them, and if they won, then they would get 2 opportunities for the titles later.
Mm-hmm.
So then they called out for their second opportunity, and the referee chose to disqualify the champions because they stayed in the ring longer than the 5 count, which, I mean, I'm all about referees exerting authority, but like this is such a weird way to do it.
It was very poorly done the way they went about it. Like you said, enforcing the rules, but once he hit the 5 count, he wasn't really forcing him out of the ring or yelling at him or yada yada, and I like to see the rules enforced, especially when you're watching, and it adds a little bit of realism to it. But he just kind of okay, I hit 5, I'm disqualifying you, and then it was just kind of made me think something else is going to happen down the road.
And Scott Wheeler has been a referee who has been had some very controversial moments in the NWA already. I feel like whenever there's a bad referee call, it's usually with him. The other match that was scheduled or that did take place was Boz versus Nick Swift. Mm-hmm. Nick Swift is a veritable unknown in the NWA, but Boz has been a guy that's we don't see him very often. And Billy gave us a very convoluted story that he saw Boz 2 years ago and really thought he had potential, but never really didn't think he's realized that potential till now. And Boz, there's a lot of guys in the NWA who look really big and buff, but they're not like they're basically junior heavyweights.
Yeah.
The last time we saw Boz, he was in the ring against Mike Mondo, where they basically look like the same guy. And, and that was back in October of last year. So this match was like the second time we've seen Boz in like, a 6-month period. Boz is a good, I think he's a good guy that maybe they could start doing something with, but, this was just an enhancement match. I think they're just trying to fill out time on the card.
Yeah, it's funny because when I was going through my notes, I had forgotten that this match even took place. So I was like, I had to go back in my head and think about it. I was like, oh yeah, the Nick Swift guy was the guy with the red. It looked like he had like a sash on his tights or whatever. And Boz was the guy in jeans, it looked like. And I'm just like, I can't stand wrestlers that wear jeans in the ring. Drives me crazy.
I'm okay
all
with
of them,
jerks,
or is it the ones that don't have the gimmick to do so?
No, all of them. It's just
Even like Wild Bill Irwin when he's coming down on a motorcycle.
That's Bill Irwin. That's different. It's Wild Bill Irwin. It just doesn't. It's kind of an overdone thing in a way these days by certain guys. It just doesn't make much sense. And it didn't seem like it made much sense to Boz's character. I didn't even get a feeling of a character for this guy, really, out of this match. But like Jay said, it was essentially a squash match, but it went kind of a little bit longer than a regular squash match does. There's not really a whole lot to say about it.
That's all I have to say about that.
And then, of course, the main event was the World Women's Television Title match. They, again, convoluted Billy Corgan. They had an explanation as to why they did not honor the 6:05 time limit that has been established for all television title matches, which essentially Billy said that Mama had something she wanted to prove and asked for that requirement to be removed for this match, which again, this is what sense does that make? If the time limit was a 6:05 time limit, Mama would still be champion right now. It was, I'm trying to use my words correctly. Tiffany Nieves is an outstanding performer. Tiffany Nieves has all the tools to make it to that next level. I think she's a phenomenal athlete. I think she's a phenomenal wrestler, and I have nothing but good things to say about her. This match, I felt like, was not a good matchup. I've seen Big Mama have matches with other talents. Recently, Alex Gracia and Brittany Brooks, both for the United Wrestling Network. And Mama got so over with the Irvine crowd in Southern California. And I feel like Mama has that potential to get over everywhere. They made Mama in this match kind of look lethargic, which I've seen her in other matches. She doesn't look as bad. She doesn't look bad in other matches. This one was not the most complimentative match she's had. And it looked like she hurt her leg in a match where she did like a knee drop and then proceeded to do the same knee drop again that Nieves would move. It's like, wait, if that hurt when you connected with her, why would you do it again? Only for Nieves to move out of the way and then slap on her version of the Texas Cloverleaf, which again, all the credit in the world to Tiffany Nieves, but this match didn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't know that we need to have a champ, and I don't know that Tiffany Nieves needed this belt to be relevant. I don't know what it means for Big Mama. We'll have her on a future episode of the Alliance blog podcast, and we'll ask her what her future with the NWA has. But ultimately, this was a good opportunity for Tiffany Nieves to become a 3 title holder in the NWA. As now she is the television champion, the tag team champion, and the Exodus Pro Women's champion.
Champ.
This was just mediocre at best, trying to be pleasant with it. I think we were talking about Big Mama last week, was it? And you were surprised that she hadn't been announced for Crockett Cup, or we hadn't seen her on TV. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, here she is. You know what I mean? Because it's like, once you mention it, like I didn't really think about it. and she just comes in and loses the belt rather quickly. It seemed like to Tiffany Nieves. It was okay. It was nothing to write home about. Nothing fantastic.
And I think the biggest crime too is that we had this very exciting opportunity. You have the TV champion who hasn't had a single defense on Power, and really hasn't had a single defense at all as far as the cage match is concerned. So we haven't seen that title at all. Why not have a match that had a story connected to it? Maybe have Kylie come out and try to help Mama win the match and inadvertently cost her the match, or have Mama win the match and setting up a rematch for Crockett Cup or another event down the road. I just felt like there was a way to do this better, and they didn't. I feel like they did a disservice to Mama. I'm not going to say that Tiffany Nieves doesn't deserve to hold gold in the NWA, but so does Natalia Markova. So so does Kylie Page. So I get it, but at the same time, I don't get it.
Could I also mention how Billy shouldn't be on commentary again?
Yeah, I mean, we should just have a sign and point to it every time he's on commentary.
Make it. Let's bring it to. I'll bring it to 76 or Crockett Cup.
Well,
I'll go back in time if I have to.
You know where the booth is. Just walk right up to where the booth is and hold it up. So
that's a quick way to call it a short night, Jaden.
They'll just take the sign away. They're not going to kick me out for it unless I fight.
It's just gotten to the point. I think this may have been one of his, and I say this every week. It's just like every week he gets worse and worse in commentary, and it's more and more aggravating to listen to and think about, because Joe Galli is so good at what he does. Danny Deals is a great color commentator, good comedic sidekick, that the two of them really work very well together. And then there's here Billy just over explaining stupid things. And there's something else in there, and I'm trying to remember where it was, but using insider terms on television during commentary, that's one thing that really aggravates me, because I understand it's all dead, kayfabe's dead, all that stuff, insider, but it's using that stuff on commentary or in interviews, etc. It's just something that should still to this day not be done. I can't remember the term that was used, but I should have written it down. But when I heard it, I was like, oh my God, it just shut up now.
And to make matters worse, here's the thing, right? If the NWA absolutely wanted a 3-person booth, they have someone who is so good on commentary, Alyssa Marino, who would be perfect in the booth. Remember, she did the initial primetime live tapings with Joe Galli.
Yes.
And she was very, very good. And I feel like, I like Danny Deals in that role. I think he is really good in that position as well. But if they ever decided they wanted to put him back into a manager position or take him out of the booth, she's the person that I would slot right in. But I would shut the door on Billy first and foremost. He had a very impassioned speech last week. We talked about the whole call to action, and it was energizing. And it's like, hey man, that was great. That was great. And I think in small doses, and I think in under the right circumstances, Billy Corgan can be an excellent public speaker, but I don't feel like he's the guy to be the voice during play-by-play or color or any other whatever analysis he brings to the table is laughable at best, and I feel like it hurts the show.
Yeah.
I just want to know why they're just so mean to Vicki Lawrence. Why they do Mama disservice.
I used to watch that show too, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
That was a great show.
It used to be on every morning at 5 a.m. when I first had my first child. I'd wake up every morning to feed the baby, and that was on. I'd watch it for 2 hours.
I remember Saturday nights, and I think it was I want to say 7:00 on our NBC affiliate. That's where I remember watching it. We'd watch it as a family. It was a great show.
It was, yeah.
Yes, why are they doing Vicki Lawrence a disservice? She's no Carol Burnett, but she's still amazing.
I knew you were going there. That's why I did the year. All right. So that is our coverage for Crockett Cup. Rick Del Santo will be down there. Jay Cow will be down there. Jaden will be down there. Dave Scooby will be down there. I believe Big Chris Dog will be down there. And I'm sure we'll create some content while we're there.
I hope we see the New Jersey Luchador, too.
Yeah, well, what was his name? El Aso Wipo? What was his name?
That's as good as any.
Did you ever watch Mad TV?
Yes.
Do you remember El Aso Wipo?
Yes, I do, actually.
I will break your back with my knee like a saw. Oh, I used to love that.
He's looking like a man.
Yeah, basically.
Look what I can do. Let me do it. No.
Milk Mascara lives. Do you have a mask, or do you want me to bring you one?
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never wrestled come up with a mask.
All right. Well, anyways, let's wrap this up. Of course, we're all excited about the Crockett Cup. We'll be there. Hope that you guys will be there too. We've got the Alliance Wrestling Summit shirts that'll be handed out to like-minded fans, and we'll be talking. Like I said, we'll probably try to do some live content while we're there. With that being said, Jaden, I know that June is setting up to be quite a busy month for Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. I know
Yes.
there's some match announcements. Would you like to take the floor now, sir?
Yes, but first, though, I want to make sure that Rick Del Santo is also in attendance as Nook Mascaras' tag team partner.
Wait, what is that name again?
El del Rick Del Santo.
I don't know who that is.
It's the mask Rick Del Santo.
I got
You were
some
buying into their gimmick, Jaden.
kayfabe, brother. Jeez.
All right. And now a word with Jaden.
Today's word of the day is something that begins with an N. No. So Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators, first of all, make sure you check out the YouTube page. There's a lot of content going up constantly right now. There's new matches added that are both from the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators event at Rowan University, and also some content from the South Jersey Geek Fest. So make sure you check out the Dog YouTube, because that stuff's uploading now. You can currently see a 4-way elimination match for the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators Heavyweight Championship with Breaker Morant and Vinny the Fixer and Nick Batti and Nikos Rikos. And there's also matches with Rekha Moldagursky versus Tyson Maddox, which really you should go watch. A lot of beef. An extremely amazing, awesome match between World Wrestling Grand Prix champion David Goldie versus Donovan Dijak, Notorious Mimi and Valerie Vermin, and all of DKM's perverted comments. So there's something you should check out. There's some matches adding on soon. There's one, I think, on Monday that's going to be with former WWE Superstar Ted Tolan. So make sure you check those out. But on Saturday night, June 28th, at the Sacred Heart Church, located at 103 4th Street in beautiful, historic Riverton, New Jersey, Dog Pro Wrestling presents the All-American Bash, the main event in the evening for the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators Heavyweight Championship. The new champion, Vinny the Fixer, will defend against the extremely popular and very talented Marvelous. Marvelous has a very good win-loss record in Dog, and he's looking to make a name for himself in a Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators Heavyweight Championship match, his first main event in Dog, and I think he's going to make it a good one. So make sure you're going to see that historic matchup. Plus, the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators Tag Team Championships will be on the line as Dave Dahl and Dylan Mesh, with Connor the Flag Boy in their corner, will take on the tag team of Primal Fear. Primal Fear's wrestled for Ring of Honor. Primal Fear came from the Monster Factory. Very, very good tag team. One of the top indie tag teams out there. And they're finally in the major leagues of professional wrestling, Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators, getting a championship opportunity and trying to get that Dog tag team goal to put around their waist. Also on the card, Valerie Vermin, the World Wrestling Grand Prix Women's Champion. Former Dog champion Justin Adams, the WWGP Heavyweight Champion David Goldie. You're also going to see WWE and Ring of Honor superstar Tank Tolan, If you watched OVW special on Netflix, it was called The Wrestlers. It's the docu-series. D-Get Bundles, who was on that series, OVW wrestler, and a former dog wrestler, has wrestled for dog in the past, makes his dog return. He'll be part of that. Connor the Flag Boy will probably be getting beat up, which is always worth watching itself. There's going to be 8 great matches. You make sure you're there at the Sacred Heart Church, 103 4th Street in beautiful, historic Riverton, New Jersey. It's not uptown, though. And it's definitely not rustic. But make sure you're there. It's going to be amazing. And then on July 23rd, July 24th, July 25th, July 26th, and July 27th, Dog will be part of the Monmouth County Fair. It's the biggest fair in New Jersey. Between 95 and 120,000 people attend this fair over this 5-day period. And make sure you're there because you're going to see Dog Pro Wrestling currently signed. Biggie Biggs will be in action. If he's still champion, Vinny the Fixer will be in action. If he's still champion, David Goldie will be in action. If she's still champion, Valerie Verman will be in action. If they're still tag team champions, Dave Dahl and Dylan Mesh will be in action. So you get to see them. Plus, you're going to see Fallah Ba will be there. And tons of great professional wrestlers are going to be there involved with the Monmouth State Fair, the Monmouth County Fair. All 5 nights there'll be dog action. There'll be little 2-match cards all throughout, all Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So you get to go part of the fair. If you ever check out the poster, you get to see all the other entertainment that's going to be there. There's rides, there's carnival rides, there's pig races, there's food trucks, there's all kinds of vendors. It's an awesome experience. There's going to be an American Idol singer from New Jersey. I wish I knew her name because I really don't know anything about American Idol, but she's going to be there. There's other musicians as part of the acts too. It's going to be a complete night. You're going to have 5 nights of awesome entertainment. Make sure you're there all 5 nights because Dog Pro Wrestling will be there and you get to check out that action. Again, don't forget to check out our YouTube. That has a lot of great wrestling right there. There's some other stuff that's going to be added soon. The Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Ladders Tag Team Championship match from Rowan University is going to be there on there soon. There's some really great wrestling action. Nick Botti, I'm sorry, not Big Name. Mike Z has a match out there. Samuel Thompson, he'll be there on the wrestling upload soon. And there's also matches coming up from the South Jersey Geek Fest. So you get to see a lot of great wrestling content. There's going to be a lot of promos coming up too. I also know Dr. Zacconi was talking with J. Cal about having some dog wrestlers hype in the event on this podcast, this particular podcast network. And I do know also there's negotiations. I will talk to Jay about it soon to make sure that everything's working out. But I know there's a former ECW, 2 ECW superstars who are looking to talk about their new school in New Jersey. And they're going to be talking about this on the Alliance podcast too. I think that's it. Buy some shirts and some W. What happened to Jay?
Some luchador popped up.
I never knew Kevin Owens wrestled in Mexico. I thought that was actually Sami Zayn.
No hablando inglés, señores. Mucho gusto, NWA. Mucho gusto, Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators.
That's what you get from having a subscription to what's that language thing again? Duolingo? Duolingo?
I have no idea.
Well,
what's that
what
called?
happens.
Hooked on Phonics? No, that's
Hooked on Phonics.
I have no idea. Where the heck did Jay go? He left us here.
I don't know. Some Mexican, some Canadian Mexican decided to show up for a while.
What happened? My screen went black. I thought
there he goes. There he goes.
I don't know what happened. Hey guys,
That's a sign that you get the Black TV title.
My friends, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
What? Rick can't promote something?
What?
Rick can't promote something? He's got some podcasts coming up. I saw it.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
Jeez.
Rick.
Well, this week,
Sorry.
It's quite all right. This week I dropped a new episode, finally, after weeks of not doing anything. I interviewed Vern Gagne biographer Brian Ferguson about his new book, Vern, Inside and Outside the Ropes. It's a wonderful book if you guys are into the history of professional wrestling, the AWA, Vern Gagne. Please go check out the book. Go to YouTube. All you got to do is search my name, Rick Del Santo. And that's the page it's under. And I'd appreciate it if you all go check it out. And next week, dropping Tuesday, I did an interview with Chuck Coates, one half of the German Stormtroopers, Max Coates, which was a very, very fun interview. Thank you, Luthez. Luthez watched it, commented on the video. I really appreciate you taking your time to watch the Ferguson interview. Thank you. And that's really it. Nothing else coming. Former Pro Wrestling Illustrated writer Bob Smith will be appearing the following week. So, yeah.
A lot of cool stuff
Thank
over
you.
at the Professor's page. And I do believe that there are links directly from this YouTube page to theirs, as Rick is one of our co-conspirators. So make sure that if you haven't already done so, go like and follow his page. And as same while you're at it, Dangerous General Wrestling Gladiators as well.
One more thing before I get to go. I'm on the road to hit 3,000. Okay, I'm at 2910, whatever you want to call that, 2,910. I need 80 more subscribers, or 90 more subscribers.
90.
Excuse me. Jesus Christ, my math is off. Please please go subscribe to the page. I'm trying to hit 3,000 by God knows how long, in the next couple months or so. So.
Well, we know all about the struggles of growing a YouTube channel. So
you're over 2,000 now, though, Jay.
Yeah, Nick Aldis could suck it. But yeah, that's going to do it for us this week. Please go like, comment, and subscribe not only on this show, on this video, because it helps the algorithm, but make sure you follow Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators as well as Professor Rick's page. Is it help me out again with the name of the channel? Is it
It's
the Rick
just
Del Santo?
the Rick Del Santo? Yep, you just look it
Okay.
up by my name and it'll come up. I'm the same on everywhere. You type in my name, you can find me on whatever your socials are.
Awesome. And again, we are literally on the path to Crockett Cup. I will see you guys on Saturday. I'll see Jaden on Friday night, but everyone else, we'll see you guys on Saturday. It's going to be a good time. If you're coming into town, make sure you get a hold of me, slide in those DMs. I'd love to hang out and talk and do some wrestling talk. But until then, we'll see you guys at the matches. Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time, we are The Alliance.